Mercedes seem to be facing yet another issue after bringing the latest upgrade package to Barcelona, and this time it's something they cannot do anything about. Now, the cost of bringing such an extensive upgrade package has undermined the team's ability to further exploit the new philosophy of the car, and with their rivals still to bring upgrades and extract the most of the existing ones, Mercedes might have found themselves in a dead end after the hyped up double podium finish in Barcelona. Wolff's statement confirmed this as well, and with what Aston Martin and Ferrari are planning for the near future, Mercedes is in huge trouble. Now, after the no-pod sidepod concept was thrown out of the window and Mercedes found a new foundation to work on, the results in Barcelona were definitely a massive plus for the team. The W14 struggled throughout the course of the free practice, and Russell was only able to finish P12 in the qualifying session. But his surge to P3 and Hamilton passing Stroll and Sainz to claim the second place in the race, Mercedes left Spain with 33 points, the most that they've been able to gather throughout the course of the 2023 campaign. However, this is where all the issues start. Mercedes actually keeping up this tempo and delivering good results week after week. If they were able to continue what they did in Barcelona and be faster than everyone not named Verstappen, they might even have a chance for the Constructors' Championship. But according to the latest statements from Wolff and Mike Crack, this doesn't seem to be a realistic scenario for the Silver Arrows. As all things stand, the upgrades have definitely shown what Mercedes were missing, but they were way too costly and they have a lot to deal with right now, such as upgrading the car further and staying within the budget cap. Christian Horner was the first to point towards this challenge, and Andrew Chauvelin spoke about what seems to be the most expensive part of Mercedes' newest philosophy. When talking about this matter, the trackside engineer of the Silver Arrows said, "Basically, we made a new suspension, and suspension is expensive to make and to fit on the car. So the reality is that with the budget cap, we're always looking at our situation in this World Championship. We don't know how many things we're going to do, and I don't expect to make any leaps and bounds." As all things stand, the inflation and the budget cap are making it hard on anyone to actually improve to the point of being half a second to a full second behind Verstappen in the matter of a season, let alone one race. With the budget cap breach penalty yet to apply to Red Bull, time will tell whether the RB19 will feel the consequences of the reduced aero time and whether the extra 17% will be enough for Mercedes to cut down the lead to a couple of tenths of a second. But from what we're hearing from the Silver Arrows and the rest of the grid, Red Bull escaped the situation with a slap on the wrist. Nonetheless, that's in the past, and we have to live in the present. One that, while looking great after the Barcelona GP for Mercedes, is likely to turn gruesome in near time. Now, one of the main things that Mercedes needs to do in order to be competitive with the RB19 is bring upgrades to the floor, a part they've been able to analyse closely after Perez's car was lifted up in the air in Monaco, and something that Allison, the CTO of the team, admitted is already ongoing back in Brackley. But seeing how a floor looks and actually copying it and implementing it on your car is by far the same thing, with Mercedes having such a different chassis and structure compared to the Austrian car. If there is one outlet out there that could do such a thing, it's Aston Martin, and according to Automotor und Sport, this is the part that will be upgraded for the upcoming GP in Montreal. This is definitely translating into bad news for Mercedes, mostly because Aston Martin hasn't brought an upgrade to their car yet, and they're going to do so frequently over the course of the season, with Alonso confirming that around 2/3 of the car will be changed as the season progresses. Most of these changes will be invisible ones, as the concept of the car seems to be working perfectly well. But the floor of the car is definitely one of the first parts that is going under the bus, with Aston Martin threatening to challenge Red Bull by bringing the philosophy even closer to their car. And what's very interesting about the new sidepod design of Mercedes is that although it showed how much potential it has, it's still not the one that convinced Wolff, the team principal, about whether or not it deserves to remain on the car for the near future. Russell himself added that Red Bull could mount the no-pod sidepod design and still be the fastest car on the grid, as the magic lies underneath the car, a place that Mercedes has yet to upgrade to the next extent, even though they brought a brand new specification of it to Monaco and it showed great results in Spain as well. Now, according to Christian Manath, an F1 journalist, reports from Mercedes say that Wolff is not very happy with the sidepod design, and further changes could apply to this part of the car further down the pipe, as he added, "What is a concept?" You've heard that question from the Mercedes engineers quite a lot. We're talking to Andrea Stella, and he was talking about sidepods and why these wide sidepods work better with this generation of cars and bring the best out of the floor because everyone is talking about the floor. Toto said they just wanted to take something out of the equation. He's still not convinced that the concept of these side pods is the better one. They just wanted to take something out of the equation to be sure where the problem is. Now, it doesn't end here for Mercedes, because all of these things are something they can control and further develop in their own way. But what they cannot do is beg for the other rivals to stop the development path and just let them win second place in the Constructors' Championship. Alonso has been making some statements left and right, saying that the AMR23 will crush everyone in Montreal and that the Barcelona GP was the last one in which the Silverstone-based squad would finish outside of the top 3. But the cards are in their hands and they're looking good. Aston Martin has the most time to use in the wind tunnel, as they finished P7 in the Constructors' Championship last year, tied with Alfa Romeo for P6. So it's obviously that they'll use the new Silverstone wind tunnel during the summer to try and cut the lead to Verstappen and Red Bull to a competitive extent. If there is one team that looks like it has a plan to develop a strategy to win a race, it's definitely Aston Martin, as Mercedes has already played their cards and is now waiting to see what the other teams have in their hands. Mike Crack has also thrown some shade at Mercedes for whether or not the momentum has shifted after Barcelona, and they're now holding the second spot in the Constructors' Championship, as he went on to add, "I think it's too early or too easy to say that because we've not seen the full picture in qualifying. It's something that is similar to how it is at the beginning of the year, when we say we need 3 races to see where we really are. Now, it could well be that others, Mercedes, have made a bigger step, but our early analysis so far doesn't reflect that." Well, is Aston Martin the only threat Mercedes should be afraid of? According to Frederic Vasseur, the upgrades on the SF23, which involved a revamped sidepod design with the downwash ramp, are yet to show their full potential, as the main issue that the Maranello team has right now is inconsistency. This could be fixed very easily with a bit of data analysis, but Sainz and Vasseur both agree that the upgrades were brought to the worst track for their team, as Barcelona didn't suit the current outfit of the car nearly as well as it did for the rest of their rivals. With Ferrari upping their game and yet to show what the new sidepod design could do, and with Aston Martin eagerly waiting to present their first upgrade package in Montreal, things aren't looking good for Mercedes, who will now be forced to step on the brake in terms of bringing upgrades, as the budget cap threat is something that has loomed over their heads after the massive package was brought in Monaco. Whether things will turn on the bright side for the Silver Arrows, time will tell. But as of now, it seems like they're not expecting to be fighting for race wins or the Constructors' Championship in the course of the 2023 campaign, with Hamilton setting his sights on a potential record-breaking championship for the upcoming year.